All of my formative years of working back when I was in college and then my first few years of teaching were spent making beautiful things in print so that people could be inspired and informed by them. And that's why I still love a beautiful print magazine. And that's what we're talking about on today's episode of the podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Pam Barnhill, and I have helped thousands of homeschoolers beat burnout, create doable systems, and bring more joy to their homeschool day. Welcome to episode 66 of the 10 Minutes to a Better Homeschool Podcast. Well, today I am joined by Alicia Hutchinson, a longtime homeschool blogger who decided that she wanted to inspire homeschool moms with a quarterly print magazine. And so that is exactly what we're going to be talking about. Now, before I get on with this conversation with Alicia, I would like to invite you to our website at freehomeschoolplanner.com to download our free homeschool planning pages. These dozen homeschool planning pages are the big picture planning pages that I use each and every year to plan my homeschool for the following school year. You are going to really enjoy digging in deep with these, creating a vision, looking at some goals, and getting your schedule ready, all prepared and laid out for your school year. So those are at freehomeschoolplanner.com. And now on with the interview. Alicia Hutchinson is the founder of Learning Well Community and Learning Well Journal. She has been homeschooling her 4 children since 2008. She lives in Minnesota with her husband, her kids, and 1 cat. Alicia, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Pam. Thanks for having me.
Well, I am so excited to have you on because you may not know this, but my background is in print journalism. So I worked in newspapers. Then I was a yearbook advisor for like 7 years. And so things in print and the smell of ink on paper, that is so cool to me. So I'm so excited to talk to you about something that not a lot of people are doing anymore, and that is a print homeschooling magazine. So tell me about the Learning Well Journal. What's it all about?
Well, it's a twofold mission. I feel that I have with this project. I, like you, have always loved print. I love holding things in my hand. I feel like it's kind of becoming a lost art of a bit like it's just everything is so digital these days that not only that, but I do feel like we're way too much in our screens, in our phones, and our devices all the time. So I feel like any way that I can encourage moms, kids, families to do things that are more in person and tangible, in your hand type of things, that's kind of my mission. But secondly, I've been blogging for a long time. I've been blogging for about as long as I've been homeschooling. And so, I've been encouraging or trying to encourage moms for a really long time in their homeschooling journey. So it's a project that kind of pairs those two things. And, my purpose with the magazine is to help moms really love their life at home with their kids, homeschooling their kids, taking care of their homes, in their faith lives, and all that involves, kind of all bundled up into one product or item.
Okay, so give us some of the nitty gritties about the Learning Well Journal. So if I were a subscriber, what would I get?
So we have 4 topics that we cover: home, homeschool, faith, and family. So I like talking about, I love home stuff. I love talking about cleaning schedules and how to keep your home organized and decorating and baking and, menu planning and all of that stuff. And as homeschool moms, we kind of have to do all of that stuff. And obviously homeschooling has been a huge part of my life forever. And it's becoming, well, not forever, but a long time.
It feels like forever.
It feels like forever in a good way, in the best way. So, and it's becoming more and more popular. And in our family, I think that, that includes not only just our life with our husbands, but, our extended family and doing things all together. And then our faith life is the most important, right? And how we keep growing in that and how we keep, kind of becoming refined and sanctified and in a little bit of a way, just, that scripture about how iron sharpens iron. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to do with the magazine.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So 4 topics there. And then the magazine comes out 4 times a year?
It's quarterly, yes. So it's seasonal, but then each quarter we have a theme. So we base each issue around a verse in scripture. So we've had issues on discipline and resourcefulness and hospitality and diligence. So those are some of the topics. And then each one of those topics, we have a scripture that we kind of base the whole thing around, the whole issue around. And then we add in just seasonal fun things too. So for the most recent issue for spring, we're talking all about resourcefulness, and we are theming it around that scripture in Luke where it talks about if you're given much, you are expected much. And anyway, so that's what this one is based around. But we also throw in a lot of stuff on, Easter and, fun projects like May Day baskets and stuff for spring. So it's seasonal, but it's also themed around a verse in scripture.
So it sounds like it's a really good mix of kind of practical advice, practical homeschooling advice, and also fun projects and inspirational articles as well.
Yes, because I think we've all experienced that where you get a resource that you're really excited about that is really beautiful or it looks really good and, like the shiny curriculum from the outside. But then when you get going with it, it's like, well, this isn't really helpful to me. This is more of an idea than actually applicable to my life. So that's what I wanted to try to avoid. I wanted something that looked beautiful, but also was extremely practical for just for the everyday homeschool mom that just wants to enjoy her life with her kids at home and needs some help along the way, like we all do, and some new ideas and ways that she can easily incorporate things into her homeschool or her home on a day-to-day basis.
Well, with this platform, with this Learning Well journal, and then you've had the Learning Well community for years, such a great community of homeschoolers. If there was one thing that you could just really convey to homeschool moms, what do you want them to know?
That's honestly such an easy question, Pam. And I know, when you have older kids, you can kind of see the forest for the trees a little bit better than I feel like when you have the toddler baby years when you're thinking, what on earth am I doing with my life? As our kids get older and you see them grow into, these amazing human beings that for the longest time, you do the everyday stuff. You do, the training and the memorizing and the spelling tests and the, teaching them how to do chores around the house and all of these things. And it just seems so tedious and monotonous so much of the time. But then as they're getting older, and at this point I have one that's, my oldest has graduated. He's almost 21 and my second son is a junior. And then I have a 14 and a 9-year-old. But as they get older, it kind of all starts coming into focus. And you can see like, not that it's me. It's not me because there's, it's not just me. Like God had a lot to do with this, but you see kind of the people that they're becoming, the things that they've learned in your school over all of these years. And you see that they're capable, you see that they're employable, you see that, all of these like amazing traits of our kids that have just kind of all come into focus at one time as they're kind of becoming adults. And it just finally hits you like, oh my gosh, it is so, so worth it.
Yeah.
All these things that kind of make us cry, like, oh my gosh, am I doing a good enough job? Am I doing this enough? Am I, do I have all the right credits in high school? And all of these little nitty gritty things that we get in the weeds about. But it just finally kind of comes into focus and you just see like, these are amazing human beings. And I am just so blessed to have been able to be their mom and have this time with them. And it just makes it all worth it.
All worth it. I love it. And the other thing I hear you saying besides it's all worth it, like if you're faithful and you show up and do the work, then it does turn out okay in the end. And so I love that. Love that so much. Well, Alicia, if moms are looking for more encouragement and practical advice and a beautiful print package that they can hold in their hands, where can they find the Learning Well Journal?
Yeah, so they can just go to my website. It's just my name, aliciahutchinson.com. And to find that page, it's aliciahutchinson.com/magazine. And they can also find me on Instagram at Learning Well, or my personal page, which I'm pretty active at over there, is over at Alicia's.
All right. All of those places, and we'll link them all for you in the show notes to this episode of the podcast so you can get your hands on your very own copy. Thanks so much, Alicia.
Thanks, Pam.
And there you have it. Now, if you would like links to any of the resources that Alicia and I chatted about today, including a link to subscribe to the Learning Well Journal, you can find that all on the show notes for this episode of the podcast. That's at pambarnhill.com/TMBH66. Now, thank you so much if you have left a rating or review for the 10 Minutes to a Better Homeschool podcast in your favorite podcast app. Believe it or not, the ratings and reviews that you leave actually help the podcast apps know to push out the podcast to more new listeners. So we thank you so very much if you've taken the time to do that. And if you haven't and you happen to be over there, we would really appreciate the reviews. Now, I will be back again next week. I will be back again to talk about why more and more moms, families really, are choosing to homeschool their kids. So come back and join me next week. Until then, keep on homeschooling.